President Biden's expected to unveil his latest effort to broaden student loan relief.
The voter intensity and support for President Trump is deep, and as you know, it cuts across, all demographics. We're seeing right now where Trump is winning with groups that he was by larger margins than he ever has been before. But part of it is because the citizen, the average person that's working, they know that under Joe Biden's inflation, if they've got savings, they've lost 30% of its value, and they know that it's costing more to put food on the table, gas in their car, pay for their electric bill. So they understand. They understand that they were better off under President Trump than they are right now under Joe Biden.
He's going to do what he's going to do.
He's sarcastic. He's funny, and I love him.
But what lies between the lines of Trump's comedic chops and meme-like banter are his actual plans if reelected to the White House.
He wants change. Our country is really doing poorly. We're a laughing stock all over the world, and we're going to get that change very quickly. And this has been some incredible evening before it even starts, because people, they wanted to contribute to a cause of making America great again.
And they did contribute. Donald Trump raking in more than $50 million. That is a record haul in his first major fundraiser since clinching the GOP nomination. Our next guest was there, former 2024 presidential candidate, North Dakota Governor Doug Burgum joins us now. Governor, thanks for being here. You were there. Take us inside the room. What was the atmosphere like?
Well, Pete, first of all, there was no room. It was outside, but I would say it wasn't just energizing. It was actually inspirational. Being with all of these incredible job creators, people that have, many people that started with nothing. They've lived the American dream. They've given back to their communities. They've created, countless jobs around our country. And they're concerned about the future under Joe Biden. They're concerned about their kids and their grandkids and the people that work for them. And that part was very inspirational to see that the depth of the caring that people have, and they know and understand that we're headed in the wrong direction under Joe Biden, and with President Trump, we're going to get this country going again. The world will be safer and more prosperous under President Trump. It's about as simple as that.
Governor, 6-3, you can't spend this type of money without authorization. So the idea that he can take billions of dollars that someone else owes and just have the taxpayers pay for it with the stroke of a pen is anathema to our constitutional republic. The Congress is supposed to authorize this type of spending. And the fact that it hasn't should at least stop the president from doing it. And I can't imagine a Supreme Court isn't going to intervene and stop this pretty soon.
Right. Folks on Capitol Hill love to remind you they have the power of the purse. Okay, then there's the legal cases involving former President Trump. The one known as the hush money case, expected to start a week from tomorrow. What do you make of that case?
Well, the president faces a difficult challenge up in New York. It's a jury pool that is unfriendly to him, a court that's unfriendly to him, and obviously the Soros-backed prosecutor up there has it in for him. This is an extraordinary case, a new application of the law, arguably an application of law that ought not to survive scrutiny. But in the meantime, he's got to go through this process. So if I were betting, I'd be betting that he's going to get convicted, however outrageous that would be. And to me, what we're seeing is just election interference happening in the courtrooms.
The courtroom calendar is busy in the midst of a presidential campaign. We have a graphic to show our audience. I mentioned the New York hush money trial set to start April 15th on tax day. You got the classified documents one May 20th. Election interference has been postponed. Supreme Court Trump immunity arguments April 25th. The National Convention July 15th to the 18th. Lots going on. Do any of these cases particularly concern you, Tom, and should they concern
for the Trump campaign, for the RNC? What if you were to give one recommendation? Hey guys, let's focus on this to get the win. What would it be?
Well, I think there's two things that the RNC is focused on, and that's get out the vote, and then it's protect the vote. And getting out the vote, the depth of energy, the intensity. When I've had a chance to go around the country in recent weeks, in places like Clark County, Nevada, the voter intensity and support for President Trump is deep. And as you know, it cuts across, all demographics. We're seeing right now where Trump is winning with groups that he was by larger margins than he ever has been before. But part of it is because the citizen, the average person that's working, they know that under Joe Biden's inflation, if they've got savings, they've lost 30% of its value, and they know that it's costing more to put food on the table, gas in their car, pay for their electric bill. So they understand. They understand that they were better off under President Trump than they are right now under Joe Biden. And these voters, they trust President Trump on the border. They trust him on the economy. They trust that he's going to be tough on China. They trust that he's going to help make our cities safer. They trust him that he's going to be able to stop the wars. And so on all the things that matter to voters right now, President Trump is winning. So the voter intensity is there, but we've also got to make sure that we protect the vote and make sure that the voting that actually happens, the votes get counted correctly.
Protect the vote big time. You're exactly right. That's got to be a huge focus in November. Governor Doug Burgum and before, thank you for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Pete.
You got it.
Didn't get through in his first term. A record-setting deportation of immigrants, eliminating the Department of Education, a hardline approach on global affairs, and an extreme crackdown on crime. On the border, an expanded approach to 2016, promising to not only reinstate his travel ban on certain Muslim-majority countries, but to include any nation he sees fit.
I will immediately reinstate and expand the wildly successful Trump travel ban on entry from terror-plagued countries.
While vowing to set records for deportation of immigrants.
The largest deportation operation in American history.
On education, Trump intends to slash the federal department entirely.
By the way, we're going to terminate the Department of Education if you don't. Fast. Almost the first thing we're going to do.
Also pledging to cut funding of any public school that has a mask mandate for child safety, something increasingly rare. On crime, Trump goes even further, suggesting a punishment of death even for some misdemeanor criminals.
Very simply, if you rob a store, you can fully expect to be shot as you are leaving that store. If you want to solve the drug problem in the United States, really solve it, you have to bring back the death penalty for drug dealers.
Also saying he won't hesitate to send U.S. military troops into cities he calls crime dens.
And one of the other things I'll do, because you're supposed to not be involved in that. You just have to be asked by the governor or the mayor to come in. The next time, I'm not waiting.
And on global affairs, protectionist and isolationist. If reelected, Trump says he'll enact a 10% tariff on all U.S. imports, a plan both sides of the aisle have argued would discourage economic activity and possibly launch a global trade war. Also suggesting he would encourage Russia to attack a U.S. allied country in NATO if they didn't pay their fair share.
You didn't pay? You're delinquent? No, I would not protect you. In fact, I would encourage them to do whatever the hell they want. You got to pay. You got to pay your bills.
And finally, promising legal consequences for his opponent, President Biden.
I will appoint a real special prosecutor to go after the most corrupt president in the history of the United States of America, Joe Biden.
In Trump fashion, denying it would be political retaliation while stirring up his supporters.
There'll be no revenge. No revenge. Does everybody agree? No revenge.
Most of these policy items on trade, the border, and crime overshadowed as Trump splits time between the campaign and the courtroom. But while attention is turned towards the 91 felony charges against him, if you listen to any of his rallies, Trump's policy agenda is right there, on the table, and more alarming than ever before. Jake Traylor, NBC News.